Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor. Now, we have a real blend of action this weekend because, of course, we have the Scottish Grand National up at Ayr. We also have Spring Trials Weekend at Newbury, of all races from Newbury, live on Sky Sports Racing. Now, I am being joined back in the studio by both of my pundits, Sam Boswell and Declan Rix. How was golf?
Golf was good, yeah. I'm here, so I didn't make the Masters, as you can see. But there's nowhere I'd rather be now than back with you and Weekend Winners. But no, great trip, yeah. Marbella, good old spot. So I feel refreshed. There's a wee pep in my step.
We have a very different view of Marbella. Our experiences of that, very, very different. You've probably done it better. No green jacket for you, though. You were trying to tee us up for one of us to at least well, and we've all let you down.
Yeah, bonjour, Kate. Welcome back.
Merci.
Glad to see you're here. Sounds like you left your voice in Paris.
I have no idea where I am, to be honest.
Sounds like Miley Cyrus, doesn't he?
I have no idea where I am, what time I am. I can't get away with even the excuse of jet lag. It's only an hour.
It's that weird part, isn't it, where the seasons as well. We've got that sort of flat coming, jumps ending, so something for everyone.
Definitely something for everyone. And you two in good form as well, I must say. So you may be carrying me through this one. I'm not going to lie at this point. But before we get stuck into the action, a reminder, as ever, to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will also do our best to point you in the right direction. Right, on with our first race. We're heading up to Ayr for the Scottish Champion Hurdle. Comes up at 2:15. Now, champion trainer Willie Mullins has the favourite here with Ethical Diamond at 3-1, looking to retain his title, Willie Mullins. So, Sam, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, obviously the card at Ayr absolutely dominated by Willie Mullins, and we should just say a big congratulations to him for what he achieved last week. That was a pretty stunning effort at Aintree across the 3 days, and Ethical Diamond for me, I thought at 3-1 was a fair bet here. And you go back to that Cheltenham Festival run, I didn't think got the easiest of passages. I don't want to see the horse held up this time. I'd like to see him go from the front, and this is a much easier.
How many Grand National winners have you ridden?
Well, the good news is Patrick Mullins is in great form. And, I must say, I thought his week at Aintree was obviously topped off by the national win, but the Gaelic Warrior ride was fantastic. So he's clearly a man in a confident mood. And I'm hopeful that Ethical Diamond as well, the flat pace in the page suggests to me that this horse should be tailor-made for a race like this. I know, competitively handicapped, maybe not, but I'm a massive fan. We're going to see the horse finishing, what was it, 4th here?
Yeah, talking at flat pace.
Yeah, at Royal Ascot. And you sort of think to yourself, don't you, this is the kind of horse that Willie Mullins just excels, was running in the big festivals on both codes. And I felt like I went through it, and of his others, I kind of really struggled to make cases for any of them. Bunting's a horse I've liked in the past, but I don't think the ground's going to be in his favour. A lot of water has gone down at Ayr. I believe it's something like 88 mils, did we say?
Yeah, but we only found out this morning, which was no good when we were putting our selections through yesterday.
So I think we're going to end up in the good to soft kind of region for ground, which will be absolutely fine for that horse. I just thought it might be a bit quick for Bunting. But yeah, Ethical Diamond, what are we, 3-1? I thought that was a fair price about a favourite that obviously it feels a bit kitchen sink being thrown at this by Mr. Mullins.
It's great fun though, isn't it? All of the
Unless you're Dan Skelton.
There's only one person sicker than Tracey at the moment, that's Dan Skelton.
That's so true. I've loved all of the memes that we've been seeing on social media of just the fleets of ships coming over the Irish Sea.
The Willie Armada.
Yeah, just coming over, and to just spoil Dan Skelton's party, you have to feel for him really, don't you? But yeah, Willie Mullins is chucking everything at this. Why would he not? We were only saying the other week he needs to get home the 1, 2, 3 in the Grand National, and even for us we said we know he can do it, but come on now. Cue him going and actually doing it. So, yeah, Ethical Diamond for me as well. I'm going to stick with the lethal winning, Grand National winning combination of Patrick and Willie Mullins as well. I thought that was a solid run from him last time out in the county as well. When you actually see, I know it wasn't probably the most competitive of county hurdles that we've expected. It was a smaller run field as well. But to finish 4th in that behind Cargeese, who of course was so well backed, and finishing just under 4 lengths 4th as well. And as we've just been looking at, we know how useful this lad was on the flat, but he is now proving himself just as adept over hurdles. And that Punchestown maiden hurdle that he won on his penultimate start, heavy ground, and he made all there as well, which when you've got a short price Mullins horse, very often you just see them just taking a no-nonsense sort of ride going from the front. But last time out when he was held up, I say quicker surface. It just didn't transpire in the way the race
thought he
worked
wasn't.
out.
He was a drifter in the betting on the day, wasn't he? And he wasn't. He was never really put into the race at any stage. Like, I think if you backed him, you would have been pretty disappointed with the early positioning, and he probably ran as well as he could have been expected to run, given his early position. Because I think there was a couple of breathers in the race. Horse on the front end got as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be marking him up for that. And he's only
absolutely.
up £1 therefore for us. So let's
you.
say tactics, hopefully get it right this time round. And Willie going it down with both barrels. 3-1 ethical diamond for the pair of us to join us.
I am actually also with ethical diamond, but I'm gonna have 2 darts in this race, right? We've hopefully got him covered well, but I can't get away at the prices here from Under Control. She is an incredibly well handicapped mare on the best of her form. Now, the reason we're getting 14-1 is she's got quite a patchy profile. You know, she's had wind operations, and I think she's got a tongue tie on as well. So you just kind of suspect that, you know, while she can be brilliant, she also can throw in a bit of a stinker. But she was good this day behind Ashrow Diamond, and you know, I thought this was a decent run on the day. I think this day I had her run into 138, and she gets in here on Saturday for 134. And if you go back earlier in her career as well at Sandown, remember she beat her Miracle Lord in her novice season. You know, she ran to around 136 that day. So you've got 2 bits of good form there that suggest she's well handicapped to win. Now, like I said, the reason we're getting a big price is because of her patchy profile. But she's been coming in here fresh. The Henderson Yard are in good order, much better order than they were this time last year. And 3 of her 4 career wins have come in March and April, so it'll be interesting. Springtime. You know, a bit of a sun in her back and all that. We'll see her go well. It's just be interesting now if they were really happy with her and they thought she could go close. There's absolutely no chance she goes off at 14-1. But at the same time, if she's going off 20, 25s, we'd probably know our fate. But just wanted to give viewers a horse at a bigger price to have a look out for, given we're all basically with Ethical Diamond.
Do watch which way she goes in the betting.
Yeah,
they say 14-1 at the time of recording for Under Control. And yeah, we always say it, don't we? This time of year for mares, sun on the back. I can vouch for this. You tend to flourish.
Can you, though? Can you really?
I'm currently not flourishing.
Wasn't warm enough in Paris.
No, apparently not. So maybe it's too warm. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's the issue. But yeah, do let us know in the comments section below who you fancy for the Scottish Champion Hurdle. Now we're moving on to the big one up at Ayr, the Scottish Grand National. Now, champion trainer Willie Mullins, of course, is a strong hand in here as well. Last year's winner McDermott goes again. He's got 6 in this, but Chosen Witness it is who heads the market at 11-2, Deck.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Surrey Quest in the hope that he can go one place better, having finished a nose second in the race last year. Heartbreak for him and his connections. Look, he's £6 higher in the handicap, and he's got to carry a stone more in physical weight. But the key for me, I think the big key is the cheek pieces are going back on now. He did wear them earlier on in his career when he was with Nicky Henderson. And he ran a really poor race that day, but I don't think the cheek pieces had anything to do with it. He was just too bad to be true, and I think that was his final run of the season. But he just looks like a horse who's been crying out for a little bit of headgear just to help him travel a bit sweeter in his races and help Kevin Brogan as more than anything. Now, this is him earlier on in his career winning at Newbury, another flat track. So, look, we know flat tracks suit, and we can see that here, and we saw that at Ayr last year. I just think the headgear going back on, if it sweetens him up and makes him travel a little bit better and hold his position, I think he'll have a good shot for the Toby Lawes team, who are currently among the winners. And as you know, we're coming to the end of the National Hunt season. You probably ideally want a fresh horse who performs at this time of year. That's exactly what he is.
He definitely is, isn't he? I've always had a soft spot for this horse because we talk about social media clips. Did you remember a few years ago he used to live opposite Constitution Hill,
right,
in the barn there, and all the media team would come in to film Constitution Hill, and he's just in the background sticking his tongue out trying to get some attention. And the caption was, "Oh, when your stablemate's Constitution Hill, you have to do something different to get attention." So ever since then, I've had the biggest
maybe
soft
he's been
spot.
teaching Constitution some bad habits. sorry, Quest jumping from time to time hasn't been great. So
I had to be moved out. That's why he was swiftly moved on then.
But to be fair to Toby Lawes, who I think actually used to ride Altior when he was at Nicky Henderson's, he's done really well with this horse, and you know they were so close to winning a big one last year with him. So hopefully he can go one better.
Yeah, 10-1 then about Surrey Quest. Sam?
Yeah, I would be in firm agreement with Dec. Actually, Surrey Quest was definitely kind of on my shortlist and ended up heading it for several reasons. But I do think the run last year, you know, there's a few in here that are arriving here. Yes, they could be well handicapped, but they haven't experienced the trip. I do like a proven stayer, and I'm not suggesting that all these horses are being thrown in for the sake of it from the Mullins team, but there's some of them that just haven't seen anything like 4 miles, and that would make me want to put a line through them. They could be anything, I appreciate that, but I really like Surrey Quest. I'm sure Toby Lawyers was cursing that Grand National result, because this, I imagine, has been the plan. I like the fact that he's had, 3 runs this year, and 2 of them have been pretty decent placing in Cheltenham especially, and that was on good ground, so if it does dry out, I'm not too worried.
Yeah, and that day against Buffalo Soldier, he was a huge drifter in the betting, wasn't he? And he still ran well.
And, you know, he ran second in this on soft ground last year. I think the mark's fine. So he was kind of my main selection. But I will mention one of Willie Mullins' runners, going to be my long shot for later on in the show. But Clark Kent, for me, I just think arriving here, I think something like £8 lower than last year. And he's definitely going to have one of these staying handicaps in him. I thought the run in the National Hunt Chase was fine. I perhaps would have liked to have seen a bit more from him. But I think he could be well handicapped. And Johnny Burke, of course, who somehow managed to have a great spin in the Grand National despite his equipment issues. Fair play to him. I hope he has a clearer round. And there was a bit of early money for him. I think he was 40s when we opened betting on the day of, and he's already been trimmed into something like 22 to 1. So those are my 2 plays each way in the race, where you have to respect the hand that Willie Mullins is throwing at it.
A 22 to 1 shot on a Willie Mullins horse, regardless of what string it is, as we saw literally last week, didn't we? Rocket, that you can't be dismissing any of them. I'm not going to go for such an original price on a Willie Mullins horse, because Chosen Witness it is then for me. Just expecting the Mullins bandwagon to continue rolling and to take this race again after winning it with McDermott last year. Now, of course, coming here on the back of an unseat isn't ideal. However, we knew McDermott was coming into this with his own jumping frailties, and he continued those jumping frailties throughout the entirety of this race last year, yet still managed to win. So I'm hoping that's not going to be any sort of an issue then for him, because we still haven't seen the ceiling by any means of Chosen Witness so far. We know he has plenty of stamina, course win at this meeting last year over 3 miles in a handicap hurdle, and he's already shown plenty over fences this season in just the 3 runs so far over the larger obstacles. And he was going well enough when he unseated at the 4th last time out. That was a Grade 2 novice at Navan in February. So this will be his first handicap start over fences, and he, as I say, just looks to have plenty of scope. Trip likely to suit him as well. Pick of the Mullins horses, it appears anyway. Which of course is going to count for plenty. So yeah, Chosen Witness then for me at 11 to 2. But a bit of agreement then about you guys, and also Sam giving us a long shot as well. Again, do let us know in the comments section below who you fancy for the Scottish Grand National. And whilst you're there, also hit subscribe and the bell notification so you never miss an episode. Right, we're going to switch codes now, and we're going to head
Please
south.
stay with us. Please stay with us. Please stay with us.
Praying. Dex trying to do everything to keep the engagement into the flat season rolling.
Come on, just stay with us. Never mind your cricket over the summer and your GAA in Ireland. Just stick with the flat. Stick with the flat.
Hopefully we will be able to just round up that enthusiasm then for you with the 2 o'clock at Newbury. Now, this is for Group 3. Fred Darling Stakes over the 7 furlongs. Of course, all races live on Sky Sports Racing. So the first of 2 Guineas trials. Now, Amalka was beaten in this last year, and she was our eye-catcher. Before sound the trumpet, she went on to win the 1,000 Guineas. So, Dec, have we got another potential 1,000 Guineas lurker in here?
Potentially. I think it's a good race. I think it's a good renewal, and it's a fascinating renewal in many regards, because you've got the proven quality group horses with experience like Simmering, Mountain Breeze, Heaven's Gates and Time for Sandals, all taking on the younger, not the younger, but the more unexposed sorts like Nardra, Bright Times Ahead, and others in there. So, I think if one of the one race fillies can end up winning this, I think she's going to be a big player in the 2,000 Guineas. And the other thing I thought was a little bit interesting with this race is, Simmering, Mountain Breeze, Heaven's Gate, they're all actually drawn quite low. So you've got experienced horses and kind of maybe going to be on the best side of the pace as well. So I eventually came down on Mountain Breeze for the Godolphin team, who you know, she had plenty of runs last year. She had a good, solid season. And, you know, this is her running in the Albany, which a couple are reopposing here. Now, I thought this was a big run on the day because she didn't get the ideal Ascot kind of straight track setup. I don't think she got great cover on the day. She was also up at the pace that they went a good gallop. And although that I'm saying that, you know, the Heaven's Gate there, she was actually on the pace the whole way and she stayed going there. But I don't think she was at her best this day, Mountain Breeze. But, you know, you could just go back to her. She was 4th in the Albany, 2nd in the Duchess of Cambridge, then she was 2nd to Lake Victoria in the Sweet Celeria. So look, she's got a nice body of work there. I was just looking at the pictures of her. She's ran twice this season at Maidan. I think she's got a little bit stronger and a little bit filled out a little bit, which you would hope for a horse with her pedigree, because I think her dam is a half sister to Pinatubo. So you look, you know, like a lot of these horses from Godolphin and Ballydoyle, they've got big pedigrees. But I just like the fact she's a little bit like myself now. She's skipping off the plane, a bit of sun on her back, and she's feeling good. And she's going to be a little bit sharper, a little bit fitter than all of these. And I'm hoping that will tell. Now, I think there's others in here that will be much better than her, let's say, in 6 months' time. But I think she just could be the now filly. So I'm hoping that's the case with Mountain Breeze.
That's such a good point, though, isn't it, for this race, is who is the here and now, but also still who has the potential, and trying to find that blend of the seasons and exactly which angle you want to take. You can make a case for either way,
Absolutely.
Can't you?
And even if we were asked for flat horses to follow, weren't we, a couple of weeks ago? My flat horse to follow this season was Bright Times Ahead for the Rafe Beckett team. Yeah. So I've gone against her here. But I was just going back there. I think since 2005, only 2 once-race fillies have won this race, and both were trained by Rafe Beckett. One of them was Remarque 2 seasons ago, and I can't remember the other one off the top of my head, but both of those were 7-2 when they won. Bright Times Ahead at 11-1 looks like she's got a little bit more on her plate, but keep an eye on her. This could just be the start of a good season for her.
Absolutely putting social viewers away there. Your horse to follow, and now going straight against Bright Times Ahead. But yeah, do keep an eye on her though. At 11-1, Sam, it's fascinating.
Yeah, it is, and I respect Deck's view, and I think Mountain Breeze is he makes a compelling argument, but for me, I'm hoping Simmering will turn the heat up.
Hey.
And there's so many dreadful
puns. Come on, Sam. We want
the
viewers to stick with us.
Let's hope we're cooking. Anyway, let's just actually focus on the horse, because she's a brilliant horse. And last year, I really enjoyed, aggressively campaigned as well, which is what we like to see. With that's the beauty of the flat. Deck's joking about people's interest in the flat perhaps isn't the same as jumps. I love the fact that we got to see this horse on I think 5 occasions last year, 6 occasions, you know. And
run more times than Constitution.
Oh, I knew he was he threw it up, he hit it.
But you know, this win at Deauville was pretty good. That was on soft ground, albeit French soft, and that came over the 7. And the trip over the mile was probably the blot in the copy, but right at the end of the season at Longchamp. But I can forgive that because she wasn't beat far, and I just think the ground, and that was a very sort of effort at the end of a long season. I'm not necessarily too worried about thinking about 1,000 guineas or going back up in trip for her. I think this is going to be a race that she'll be able to actually really stamp her mark and prove that she's trained on, which is obviously the big question, isn't it? You know, a lot of the time that's the first thing we're thinking about in the April, May, June part of the flat season. Have these horses that were good last year trained on, or have some of the lesser exposed types progressed?
I think she will, won't she? She's kind of good.
So.
She's not massive now by any means, but she's got a good kind of medium-sized filly.
Yeah,
and
she's
I think,
lovely looking.
Yeah, and her sire too, Darren Hott, had a really good season last year with 3-year-old fillies.
Yes.
So plenty going for her.
And she wasn't exactly kept to easy contests. You know, she was behind Lake Victoria, and that form looks obviously fantastic. And Sumion rides, 3 wins from 14 efforts at Newbury in recent years. So, you know, no complaints about that. And what are we, 3-1 market leader? Yeah, I think that's a fair enough price.
Now, unlike Deck, I'm not going to put away social viewers because I am siding with the horse I've put up to follow for the flat season. So we're going to know our fate early with this clip. We could have gone for a back end of the season horse, but nope, we're right here with the first kind of big weekend down at Newbury. Time for Sandals then for me at 7-1. Now, I'd say she's in here mainly to test the waters over this trip to see if she will be getting the 7 furlongs. I would give her every chance to be getting this. Now, she is just a likeable, smart type for all that we've only seen her the 3 times. But of course, she won on her debut and she's just taken a step forwards with each of her 2 subsequent starts. So she's been improving with all of them, and she showed plenty of speed on that debut at Kempton over 6 furlongs. But then she finished 3rd in the Super Sprint, which we're seeing now at this course over 5 furlongs when she set back down in trip. But just look at the way that she's finishing off at this point, back down in trip. And you could say she was pretty unlucky, having to come around plenty of horses as well. well, not beaten far, as we've just shown there. And then she went to York in the Lowther, and again, she was arguably unlucky not to win there as well, when that was back up in trip over the 6 furlongs, and again, closing best of the line. So she does all of her best work at the end. So I'm hoping the 7 furlongs will at least get our answer for the rest of this season. That's my disclaimer. If she doesn't win this, basically it's my horse to follow. And of course, she's bang up there in terms of the official ratings, which how much gravitas the ratings carry at this point for these fillies, I'm not entirely sure, but at least it's a guideline for us. And she's rated 105 already, so she's bang up there with the rest of these more experienced runners who have had that time to be able to gain higher ratings as well, but she's still bang there all the same.
That's definitely one of the best pieces of form, though, that Lowther Stakes form when she was second. So I think this is a good, it's a strong renewal, I think.
I agree, exactly. That's it, because from one year to the next, it can very much differ.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Swings and roundabouts.
Exactly that. But time for Sandals then for me at 7-1. I just thought she was probably a little bit overpriced in the Fred Darling Stakes. Again, do let us know who you fancy. Now we're going to move on to the 2:35 at Newbury. Now this is the Greenham Stakes. Brian Mee and Sean Levy, they combined to win this with Isaac Shelby 2 years ago. Famous Manton Silks. They combine again here with our current favourite at 3-1, Rashabasa.
Yeah, and I think it's probably the right favourite on the form book, and from what we know so far. How strong is this Greenham? Not sure. I thought in comparison to the other race we've looked at Newbury, I thought this was maybe a little bit
Fillies
more...
do look to have the edge this year.
Yeah, they do, don't they? But that's not to say this isn't interesting. Obviously, we didn't get to see Chancellor, did we, on his final start of the season, because he had that issue in the stalls, and he could be anything, to use that awful phrase that us pundits like to pick up when we don't have anything intelligent to say. But I did want to go through, and I tried to find a bit of an angle at something at an each way play at a bit of a price, and I appreciate you can get horses fit at home, but I do still think there's no substitute for recent runs on the racecourse. A bit like Declan alluded to with his Godolphin pick earlier on. And Diablo Rojo, who won at Lingfield. And this is an interesting ammo racing horse who, if you go back through the form, but the debut at Redcar was so green, dwelt at the start, and that was quite a big field event, and managed to get the win. Went to the Acomb, blew his chance, went wide, and just got a horrible passage. This was the recent run, what were we, last month at Lingfield, and this field, and I've been guilty of always underestimating some of the polytrack form. This is actually a really decent race that I think he's picked up and won here. And you go back through the horses that have finished in behind. The fourth finished in front of Westacre, who's a really nice horse and got on to do plenty through the winter. So I kind of think you can upgrade that. Showed good, tenacious sort of attitude to battle on here. And I love the fact he's coming here fit and well. What are we, 12-1? Maybe this was a little bit of an afterthought, or I'm hoping potentially they wanted that win and run into him to get him here. The trainer is going to have a big season this year. He's obviously got the pressure of the ammo racing job, which is never an easy one. But for my money, they always seem to start quite well, their horses. I think he's been teed up for it. I think 12s is a big price.
Yeah, they already have started well enough, haven't they? And we're only just getting into the season now. But yeah, 12-1 about Diablo Rojo for Sam.
Yeah, I think Rashabar is the right favourite. Brian Mean, his trainer, was on Sky Sports Racing earlier in the week, and he just said, you know, he's a big horse, and we're very much looking at this as a prep. Now, I think in terms of form, he could actually be shorter than 3-1. Yeah. I think he deserves to be shorter given what he did last season. Really solid mentally horse, very professional, knows what he's doing. But I just wonder, could he need this? Now, Chancellor, could he be the same? Now, if John Gosden really believes he's a 2,000 guineas candidate, I don't think he will be cherry ripe for this, because the one big race missing from John Gosden's CV is the 2,000 guineas. Still hasn't won the race. Wow. So if Chancellor is, if he does think he's good enough to win, I think he'll have left plenty to work on, because if there's one race Gosden wants to win now, I think it's the 2,000 guineas. So I just wondered, could it be a little race to have a go in at a price? And, you know, I like Mo B there for their Richard Spencer team. I just loved what he did last season. I think he's been underestimated by the market, probably because of the man who trains him, you know, not a sexy trainer like the likes of Gosden's. And
he'll take that.
Yeah,
he'll take that all day.
But look, we shouldn't forget on debut, he ran behind Andy Alest at York, who I think would have been maybe gone off favoured for the Coventry Stakes, only for he was a non-runner on the day. Now, he did run in the Coventry itself, but I don't think he was right on the day. He was right out in the middle of the track, and he was hanging all over the place. Now, this day, was really impressive. He was still a little bit green. He isn't the quickest away from the stalls. But look now, he's in front here, a good half a furlong from home. And watch the ears go up here.
Oh, yeah.
Loads left in the tank, right? That race has worked out nicely as well. And his penultimate, it was a nice evenly run race, and his penultimate section, it was like 11.02. You know, he's got a little bit of toe, this horse, and a little bit of class. And the other thing is, that was over 6. I cannot believe he will not be even better over 7. His pedigree suggests he will. His running style suggests he will. And even how he hit the line that day with his ears pricked, he had loads left. Now, he's by Mohather, who I think is a stallion who could have a really big year with his 3-year-olds. He actually won this race 5 years ago himself, Mohather, before he ran into a little bit of injury trouble. But Mohather took a big jump forward from 2 to 3 before that injury, and then he took an even bigger jump again forward from 3 to 4. Now, I don't think he's got loads to find Moby either. Now, I've got him on a rating of 101, and I've got Chancellor on a rating of 101 as well. So just those two in the market, he's a better value bet for me. And Richard Spencer generally starts April the season well. So if his horses are forward and there's lots to like, and he's been going well at home, everything about him suggests he'll be even better over this trip. So I like him. I just hope he's wintered well, and the Ayr have got him forward enough.
Yeah, definitely. At 10-1, then Moby there. Strange name.
I understand, talking to Mike Cattermole in the office this morning, or as El Gato, as he's known in my quarters, by me.
By you.
El Gato, yeah. Mike says it's a song, I think, from the 60s or 70s. Now, I did put it on. Terrible song. Don't even bother your time, lads. Stick on Adele, Hometown Glory or something there. That's a much better listen. But yeah, it wouldn't be a tune for me, but we'll be singing and dancing if he wins.
Exactly. You'll be gladly singing it if he goes and wins at 10-1. We always learn something new, don't we, on this show?
El Gato, he's a very experienced man.
The gift of horse racing is that it enriches us culturally, really, doesn't it? Well, supposedly so. We're trying at least anyway. I am with Rashabar. 3-1 though, heading the way. I feel like I've had a succession of favourites today, so luckily Time for Sandals is almost helping me out on that basis. But yeah, for the winning combination from a couple of years ago. And this also was just the epitome of Brian Meehan's season last year. Of course, he seemingly had that bit of a fluke win in the Coventry at 66-1. However, in the 2 subsequent runs, he proved that was no fluke whatsoever. He was second in the Group 1 Prix-Morny, beaten just 3/4 of a length behind Whistle Jacket. And then to further add to Brian Meehan's frustrations last year, second again in the Group 1 at Prix Jean-Luc Lagardère by a neck. Yeah, so frustrating, behind Camille Pissarro. Now, this was on the softest ground he had faced as well, over 7 furlongs for the first time, which he seemed to get well, and obviously that he's facing again here. And he does set the standard now. Oh, Deck, just reliving it.
Pain.
World's greatest jockey strikes.
Deep, deep pain.
It was,
and we also showed the replay of the super sprint there. Also back to second that day. Was it Vinegard for...
Oh, you're welcome. I promise I didn't just do this just for your own woes. But bring you back down to earth after Marbs, all the same. But again, we talk about ratings and whether or not we're siding with them at this point. But rated 113, so he is setting the standard clear of the remainder in here, bringing that Group 1 form into this race as well. So the others will have to improve past him.
And didn't the Sable win this with Isaac Shelby a couple of seasons ago?
Thanks for listening to my intro to this race.
Still on holiday, clearly, isn't he?
Yeah, thanks so much.
I do apologise. Got to fight fire with fire after all these replays.
3-1 though. Could be anything. I couldn't resist. Oh, we know what he is. He's a very good horse. But right, again, do let us know in the comments section below who you fancy for that contest, whilst the 3 of us head over to the sofa to give you our best bets for the weekend. And as promised, we are over at the sofas for our best bets. Deck, you're up first.
Up first again this week, right, 2 of the 3 horses we have discussed already, and the nap is actually going to be Ethical Diamond in the Scottish Champion Hurdles, with one Patrick Mullins doing the steer, and a man riding on the crest of the wave. Will be tough off top weight, but, you know, it's just Willie Mullins in Britain, isn't it? Just keep things simple. That's the way I'm going to go. Now, the next best, we're going to go to Newbury. We're going to go Bellum Justin in the John Porter, and we'll be drinking a bit of porter if he wins. He's taken on Sunway now, who's obviously the form horse in the race. But Sunway was beaten at odds on, I think, in his first 2 starts last season. And Bellum Justin just got better and better with each run. And he might have a little bit more toe than him as well. He's a well-bred son of Sea the Stars, will love the fast ground, trained by Andrew Balding, one of my favourite trainers. So he will do. And then the long shot is going to be Yo Mao Be There in the Greenham. I really like him. I think if he's wintered well and connections are happy with him, you know, he could go off maybe about 13-2, 6-1. We'll have to see how he goes, but everything about him suggests he will be even better this season and over 7 furlongs. So Dick Spencer doing the training and Jamie Spencer doing the riding. Hopefully the Spencer brothers can have a winner for me.
Yeah, there we go then. Yeah, double Spencer.
Double Spencer.
There you go. Yeah, for a not so catchy horse's name, but
yeah.
got a nice little link there. Sam, your own best bets.
Yeah, I hope Declan's in good form because we're going to share the same nap this week. Ethical Diamond for me.
Double penalty.
Yeah, you've made fair points, Declan. I just think the ground, I think he's versatile on it in comparison to everything else. And as Declan and me have spoken on and off air a lot, we worry about the ground and not knowing what it is. So I do like to pick horses that I feel like if they've overwatered, I'm not going to worry. And if it dries out, I'll be okay too. And Ethical Diamond ticks that box. And I think he's got plenty of toe. I think this kind of assignment will be better. And Patrick Mullins, as you said, he's absolutely flying at the moment. Can't find a man that's probably riding better. I think it's absolutely testament to him because he gets a bit of stick. But let's be fair, what he's achieved this season, you know, that last week was pretty stunning. So hopefully his good form continues. My next bet is going to be Simmering. I really, really hope she has trained on and can achieve better than she achieved last year. I think she's hardy and I think she will probably improve for this run, but I'd be surprised if she's not there or thereabouts at Newbury. And I think it could be a big year for Ollie Sangster. You know, another step forward potentially. He's obviously made an impact so far, but I think horses like this are going to be key to him really having those big days out. And then finally, my long shot. I'm hopeful that Johnny Burke has retained his Superman outfit for this because he obviously was having to be superhuman in the National last week. And Clark Kent, I think, is still overpriced at around 20-1. I know you'd look at the form and probably question it, but go back and watch a few of those runs. Definitely wants a trip. Definitely off £8 lower than last year here, can go well. And I think he'll handle the ground if it's dried out. So for me, that was my sort of long shot for the Scottish National, to try and think outside the box, albeit it's still a Willie Mullins runner.
Exactly, like you say, a big price, Willie Mullins runner, and a nice Superman pun to boot as well.
That's it. Just get the girths checked. You know, that'll be the kryptonite taken care of.
There you go. I could see he was itching there for something.
You apologise.
I'm
way too fresh after this holiday.
So fresh, yeah. No, it was worth it. It was well worth it. Right, my nap, a race that we haven't discussed so far. Now, this is a 0-135 novices handicap hurdle. Comes up at 3:10 up at Ayr, over 3 miles. It's yet another Willie Mullins runner, though. And seemingly the first string as well in this race. Now, this horse went 1 from 1 in bumpers. He's just 1 from 4 over hurdles now, but he has shown progress with each run, resulting in that sole hurdle success last time out. Handicap debut, went to Nace, and he was against 15 rivals there. He was so impressive by the way that he just powered away and justifying the market support. Doesn't look for limit of his ability. Handicapper has not missed. He's given him a £14 rise for that win. So it is hefty, but he was so impressive last time out. And I still don't think we have seen the peak of his powers yet at all. So, of course, we don't have the price confirmed at the time of recording, but hopefully I'll still be getting some sort of value then about Jump Allen. Now, time for Sandals, my horse to follow for this season at 7-1. Next best bet in the Fred Darling. Really interesting proposition now as a 3-year-old. I expect her to be able to get this trip. Just the 3 starts to her name so far, winning on debut, but improving in her 2 subsequent outings. And she could have gained another success quite easily in the latter 2 runs as well. And then my long shot at 14-1 is going to be the Nip Hand in the Scottish Grand National. Really consistent horse as well. Been having a great time with things this season, winning a couple of 3-mile novice handicaps, finishing a really good second in the Grimthorpe Chase at Doncaster over 3 mile too. Just lacking the experience of the eventual winner that day, but that was his first go beyond 3 mile 1. But he seemed to say it really well. So this extreme trip, I would expect him to be able to unlock more now going over 4 miles as well. So getting much more familiar, of course, with these big field staying handicaps as well. And we know how much that conditioning can really work in the favour of horses after time. So the Nip Hand at 14-1 for me as my long shot. But that is everything from us then on this week's show. So lads, a big thank you to both of you for your efforts. A real blend of action, jumps flat. But we are back to the all-weather next week though, so we're taking it right back again, aren't we? To Newcastle, we will be recording this show on Thursday next week to preview all-weather championships finals day.